Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Film Nerds Hour with your host, Noah Sweeto.
And Nathaniel Shoemaker.
And today we're going to be bringing you a special episode because if you've listened to our last episode, you know that we did the review on Misery, which is an amazing Stephen King novel and movie, which Kathy Bates did absolutely amazing. So bringing you another great, villain. Another great villain who was brought to life from the Stephen King universe. We have The Shining, in which we have the one and only Jack Nicholson playing Jack Torrance, which I'm going to say right off the bat, I wonder how confusing that would be on set.
Oh, yeah, because Jack Nicholson, Jack Torrance.
Yeah.
I would just call him by last name. Nicholson, Torrance.
I wonder if that's what they did.
Yeah, probably.
Definitely couldn't do any method acting there.
Mr. Nicholson. I'd assume he probably got a Mr. I don't imagine anyone besides the director himself would just be calling him Jack.
Well, yeah, but, I'm going to have to say, though, too, that at least it was a better treatment than Shelley Duvall.
Oh,
God bless her soul.
God bless her soul. I'm sorry, I'm eating a pretzel. But, yeah.
Not to insult Stanley Kubrick, but fuck the guy for what he did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but...
That is the best sentence I've ever heard all day. Not to insult him, but fuck that guy.
Shelley Duvall looks like somebody you could give a hug to, and she looks like she'd genuinely be like, "Are you having a bad day? Can I give you a hug?" Like Melissa Benoist.
Melissa Benoist. You said Melissa Benoist.
Whatever. I'm too tired for this.
Alright, let's go. Let's not record. That was our short episode on The Shining. Go ahead, like, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications. I'm already out the door. Fuck it.
Oh, good. You gonna say something about
Forgot to get my phone. Have a good time. Listen to Spotify.
As he says, he forgets like 5 of them.
Yeah, my wallet. And this is a 10-minute long bit. I gotta stretch it out for an hour.
Oh, dear Lord. But, no, I feel like Shining and Misery really went hand in hand together.
I felt like, yeah. I mean, as far as plots go, I'd probably put Misery and 10 Cloverfield closer, but...
Oh, definitely, because it's more realism than Shine and Haunted Demons and whatnot.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, I don't think psychics are real. Like, sorry.
Watch, now you're gonna get a bad voodoo.
Oh, don't say voodoo around me. I don't mess with voodoo. I don't mess with voodoo. I don't mess with demons. No.
That's why you can't say anything bad about psychics.
Yeah, I guess, man. Oh, right. Like, there's a psychic listening to us right now, and they're like, I will make a fat white doll and stab it. My hand hurts.
See, it's already beginning.
Yeah, my hand actually hurts now. What is happening?
Told you not to mess with them. Oh, apparently, Danny Lloyd, who played young Danny,
also
in The Shining, is also in Dr. Sleep. I didn't know that. I thought he wasn't in there at all.
Cameo?
Yeah, I don't remember him being in Dr. Sleep. He looks way different, though. If you haven't, look up a picture of him. He makes a small cameo in the background, it looks like.
Cool.
As one of the...
The actor's name is Danny Lloyd?
Danny Lloyd.
Huh?
Danny Lloyd.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, I thought you said Daniel. That's my bad. Yeah.
He doesn't look like a child anymore. I'll give him that.
Well, that's what I said. He kind of looks like Jack Nicholson in the sense that he's balding, but not facial-wise, but...
Oh, wow, he is just barely for a second in the background.
Yeah, that's a cool little nod to having him. But yeah, he's an American teacher now.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
So, that must be fun to kind of talk to his students, or if they do like psychology or something. That'd be pretty cool.
Did you see what his line is?
No.
His cameo line is? Apparently it's a gift. The line is, that kid is a natural. He hits the ball every time like he can read the pitcher's mind.
Oh, right. Because one scene, which we won't spoil because I know that you haven't seen it yet, and yeah. If you haven't seen Dr. Sleep, definitely go see it.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about it next week, right?
Yes, we will be talking about it next week.
But today is The Shining.
Today's Shining. I will say, though, that Dr. Sleep is really an amazing film that really, really, truly lives up to its hype, and really recaptures what the original was trying to do.
100%. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I'd take your word and I trust you.
Yeah. So, without further ado, I mean, what's more to say except that that's Stephen King? It's great. And that Jack Nicholson gives a very, very strong performance in this. I started recently watching One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with him.
Great movie.
Which he kind of looks the same, which is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of his first movies, right? Well, no, that's one of his more open ones. But he started.
He won an award for it.
Did he win an Oscar for it?
Yeah, One Flew is one of the 3 who have won the Big 5.
That's right. And
it's One Flew. It's Silence of the Lambs, and another one that
which I have yet to see as well.
Also great. I'll have to find
it's kind of funny because they're both based off novels, and so is The Shining.
Oh yeah.
But it is interesting because you kind of get to see a little bit of for those of you who haven't seen Jack Nicholson's work, or for the younger people who might have not seen it, because I'm pretty sure probably the older generation has at least seen it, or at least heard of it. There's plenty of references.
Yes. So It Happened One Night from 1934 won the Big 5. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975, and Silence of the Lambs in 1991. And the Big 5 are the Oscar Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Screenplay. Sorry.
Bless you.
All right. And apparently a total of 43 films have been nominated for all 5. But only 3 ever have, which is pretty crazy.
I wonder how much Parasite got. How many did that get?
Parasite won
3?
It won. Let me see how many Oscars it won. Because Parasite, we both love that movie. We're talking about that next year-ish.
Yeah, next year we'll do a review on that with probably a couple of other cool foreign films.
We got a foreign films month, which I am very excited about because I picked the list, which you said you were okay with.
Yeah, well, I threw 1 or 2 in there, I think, too.
Yeah, you threw
First Love and can't think of the other one off the top of my head.
No, it was just First Love.
Was it just First Love?
Parasite, and then the other movie, and then the other movie, which I don't want to spoil.
Okay.
The Spanish film, and then the...
Oh, right.
But Parasite won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay. And Best International Feature Film.
So 4 of the 5.
So it won Best Picture, Best Foreign Film. Oh yeah, International Feature Film is what foreign film was.
Yeah.
But I like the new title now. Yeah, it didn't win. None of the actors or actresses for that movie were even nominated for Best.
So how many awards did it win? 4 or 3?
It won 4 awards, 3 of the Big 5. But no actress or actor from that movie was nominated for Best Actor or Best Actress.
Kind of sucks, because
right?
I would think the dad or the mom at least.
For sure. Well, definitely the dad. The son, too, I'd say. But as far as... maybe the sister? Nah.
No, I think it's the son.
And the dad, for sure.
And the dad. And maybe the husband.
No, he's barely in that movie. He's in it for like 20 minutes.
That's true.
The maid is in it more than him.
That's true.
But yeah, so going back to The Shining.
Which you're probably going to know a little bit more about the novel since I have not had the pleasure of reading it yet.
Neither have I. I don't own it
really
yet. I have Dr. Sleep, but I haven't found a copy of The Shining yet.
Because I was going to get a paperback at Target, and then I was like, I kind of wanted a bigger one, not just a little mini pocket-sized.
Yeah, I like hardcover. And nothing against pocket-sized books. Those were the iPhones before phones. So, like... That's something my niece was bizarre about, because I showed her a pocketbook that I bought, and she's like, what the heck's a pocketbook? I'm like, well, you would have this in your pocket, and if you were going to like a courthouse or a hospital, somewhere where you were waiting all day, you'd pull it out and you read it. And she goes, why wouldn't you just bring your phone? And then I cried.
Honey.
Yeah, it's okay. She doesn't, to her credit, she's 4, so.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But wait, why would you have a phone? Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, there you go. What did you think? What did you know was permanent when you were 4? Would you at 4 have thought TVs had always been around? Because to your perspective, they always were.
Well,
right?
I never had a phone at 4 though.
No, but she plays games on her daddy's phone.
Ah, okay, that's better.
Like, that's what she associates with games. Phones. So she thinks, why not play a game on your phone?
Oh, I thought she had one of her own. I was like,
no,
what?
No, God, no.
Because, believe it or not, I've seen some 4-year-olds with some phones.
No.
Pretty whack.
My personal opinion...
No kid should have a phone. I was 12 when I got mine. It was a shitty flip phone.
Yeah.
That was only for emergencies.
Get a call.
To get
one for emergencies.
You don't need a phone until you're 13, maybe, and that's still pressing it.
You don't need something distracting you in high school.
Or luring predators. Or making bad mistakes.
Exactly. Making bad mistakes are for when you're an adult.
Well, then you kind of learn real quickly.
Exactly. That's why that's the time to make bad mistakes.
But
you do got a lot of nice books over here, though.
Yeah, it's about the size of that Star Trek one and that Meg one. That's what's about the size of the Shining.
Definitely wait.
But I would say, I was like, I personally can't really read small books like that.
Yeah, this is mine.
Yeah.
Do you still want to keep it, or can I take it back to that?
That's up to you. I was gonna watch it one more time, but
okay. Sorry, continue.
No, I have to use reading glasses in order to read that. But I do know a bit about The Shining, just kind of listening to the history of it. And I know that if anybody knows, apparently like you, most people who are a Stephen King fan or know of it know that he's got very few adaptations that he's actually impressed with.
Yeah, there was a TV one he liked, which you said sucked.
Which one was it?
The TV one.
The one, of The Shining? No, he made that himself.
Yeah, and you said you didn't like it.
It was not good.
Okay.
In my opinion. Not to diss Stephen King, but,
he's not a filmmaker.
He's not. And it's just, like, I understand where he wanted to come from to make a more faithful recreation, but at the same time, I feel like it's one of those things that could have just been left to the book, because that's what makes him an author. Not dissing him as a filmmaker, but it's your universe. And in a book, you're still going to have much more credibility because of how much he writes.
Exactly.
Stephen King writes so well, especially like with The Shining, from what I have read of a little bit of it, to the point where it actually pissed me off. Stephen King pisses me off a lot because there's so much freaking detail, and I'm sitting there like, holy shit, we've been on this page like 3 pages.
That's his style, man.
But I love it.
Yeah.
At the same time, because
a lot of his books are like... No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it really paints a picture...
Yeah.
But doesn't demand what a movie would be. He paints a clear picture, but he still leaves it up to the reader to decipher what it would look like in their head. And I think for a lot of people like me, in my case, and also being a filmmaker, is that, aspiring filmmakers, that, I always like to associate locations with things I've seen in my childhood. Like when I read like from Buick 8, there's a scene where he's talking about this person pulling somebody over out in the country.
You think of?
I think of when I go to Iowa, I kind of think of the cornfields out there and a nice blue sky, a bright sunny day, something like that. And that, that's something that, I like, that he can write so much detail.
Yeah.
And, something though that I think really does reflect really good with The Shining and a lot of other Stephen King adaptations like, Misery, is that they really are... They're super creative, for one, and B, they honor the sense of where things are taking place. It's not too over the top. It's not too out of the ballpark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
They're in a sense, they're very creative, and they're kind of what you'd expect to see. Like the Overlook Hotel. The way I think it's described in the book is like something like a grand hotel. And when I think Overlook, I'm thinking of something like really big and fancy, which the Stanley Hotel, which one of my friends actually is from Colorado and has been there.
Jealous.
In which they had the typewriter from the movie and the pages out.
Yeah.
In the movie as well, which is pretty awesome.
I'm jealous that your friend got to stay there, and also I don't know if I could stay in that hotel.
Well, yeah, she's from there, too, so it was like, she used to go there all the time.
Wow.
Because she just had fun being in there.
See, personally, I would be like, nope, not staying in here. Nope.
I think they actually still rent out those rooms, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they do.
And then they probably get a lot of tourism up there, too, for that.
Probably a lot of people who are like, can I get 237? Which, in the book, is 217.
Yeah, see, that's one detail I wouldn't have known. Which I wonder why they changed that too.
I think
But
Kubrick just liked the number better.
Well, I guess it... Well, no, they would have had it in there too. But who knows? It could have been that, the layout of the room was much better.
That's possible as well. Yeah. Yeah, everyone at home, if you want to see an example of how descriptive Stephen King's writing can be, just look up anything with him writing about food. Because he'll write he'll be like, he was having a sunny side up egg. The kind where you stab it and the yolk comes out and drizzles down to your chin, and it's like,
see,
yeah.
I feel like he could be an excellent food critic if he had the ability of Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
And his writing skills.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
I think
unstoppable.
I think him and Gordon would make a perfect duo.
For sure.
But before we continue, if you want to take a look at this movie, you can get on Sling TV, Fubo TV, Amazon Prime with a premium subscription, Philo with a subscription, or you can also get on AMC free with cable TV. Otherwise, you can rent the movie from YouTube, Google Play, Movies, Vudu, iTunes for $3.99.
Is the Prime subscription to what exactly?
It doesn't say, it just says premium subscription, so...
Because I looked on Prime last night and it wasn't on there.
It says premium subscription, so, I mean, it could have changed.
Could be Shudder.
It could change just now. I doubt it'd be Shudder. I think it'd be something more Warner Brothers, so probably HBO.
Let me look up.
Would be my guess.
And as of the time of this video, these...
As of the time of these videos, those can change at any given moment.
And they do.
But, there was a couple of movies that we were taking a look at that I realized were taken off right away.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't too thrilled about. But then again, not sponsored by Tubi, but again, I'm going to come out and say it because I said in the last video that it really, Tubi is a fantastic movie. Mm-hmm. Go see it.
Tubi's a fantastic movie.
Or I mean, app. Sorry, I'm thinking of movies while I'm trying to look for this.
Are we recording too late?
No.
Tubi's a great movie. Go see it.
Tubi is a really great app. Go check it out. Go see what it's about. The ads times are great. You can also rent the movie on Amazon for $3.99. There's also it's a HBO. It'll be under HBO.
Yeah.
And with the Prime thing, it's still with the AMC Plus trial. So that's something that you guys can check out for yourselves if you want to see it if you haven't seen it already. Or it's just another good movie to watch. And I'd say it's kind of a good Christmas horror film because it takes place up in the Snowy Mountains.
Yeah.
Which is always great. It's always great to kind of see those types of movies.
We're watching the 1980 film, is what we're talking about. Oh, wow.
Well, I don't really mention... I don't think a lot of people know, actually, that Stephen King's adaptation exists.
Would you... Yeah, that's true. But it's just if they find it, they might.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely Jack Nicholson, though, too. I mean, I don't even remember what year it came out, to be completely honest.
What do you think of that? Do you know what that is?
What am I looking at?
It's a face mask.
Oh, that, yeah.
You can get a face mask, thing that's the design of the carpeting of the hotel.
Actually, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But...
What am I looking at?
Some of the things from the ending and stuff that Kubrick decided to do, were different from the book, and that's why Stephen King wanted to go on a whim and make something different. But, kind of getting into it, I love the opening shot.
Yeah, with the hills and the mountains.
With the hills, yeah. We kind of get kind of like an Evil Dead. We get a very good POV shot. Mm-hmm. And I feel like since this came out in 1980, that's probably what Evil Dead was inspired by, too.
And the score just hits at the right point.
Yeah, the very subtle, low tuba?
Yeah, I think so.
And it's just very droning, but in a good way. In a very suspenseful, tensional way. It kind of gives a sense of hopelessness. Same thing if, if you've ever heard or listened to the Thing score, the theme in your car, if you crank that up, you can hear just the nothingness. It voids everything.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. You had that experience.
Yeah, and it's bizarre. It's so bizarre that
It's crazy, yeah.
I don't know what more to say about that theme, but yeah, we get this cool shot of the mountains, and then we get like an interior shot of Jack, played by Jack Nicholson. And then
not confusing at all.
And then Wendy, played by Shelly Duvall, and then little Danny, which is Danny Lloyd. Which, yeah, actually, again, that's pretty confusing.
Yeah, Danny and Danny, Jack and Jack, Shelly and
That's really weird. But yeah, we get a scene of Jack, Wendy, and Danny all heading up to the motel, which I wouldn't say they look necessarily happy.
No,
but they're what's the word I'm looking for? They're content.
Yeah, I'd say that's the right word for sure.
I think they're mutual. They don't really have a just that, opinion. But we kind of hear a little bit of them discussing that Jack is taking he discussed a little bit about that he's taking a job, right?
Because he's going to be a caretaker at this place. Because he drives up by himself first.
Yeah, he goes...
to get to the interview.
Yeah, and then that also gives him the ability to kind of look around and be like, is this going to be one of those creepy jobs? Which, if obviously you're watching it and knowing it's Stephen King, you obviously know some shady shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But, so they talk about that, and they get up to the hotel, into which, I think, Wendy and Danny start unpacking their stuff, but they first meet... Is that where they first meet Dick?
Well, no. First, you're skipping ahead. Jack, while he's having the interview with Dick, the guy who runs the hotel, while that's happening, a doctor came to see Danny and is talking with the mom, and that's when we get the abuse part. You remember? They talk about when Jack was drunk.
Oh.
That's happening during the initial interview, which he's there by himself for.
In which he hit Danny, right?
He grabbed him by the arm and pulled, and it dislocated Danny's shoulder.
That's right, and we have another mention of that too later in the movie.
Yeah, that's a pretty good plot point. But while that's happening, he's getting interviewed for the job at the Overlook.
Into which Dick mentions a...
incident?
Yeah, which Scatman Crothers is who plays Dick.
My dad would know him as Hong Kong Phooey, the cartoon character, because Scatman Crothers did a lot of voice acting.
Yeah, and I feel like he's been in some other stuff. Giving that here, I just want to take a quick peek. Oh yeah, he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as the guard. So he's been with Jack Nicholson a couple of times.
Yeah, they know each other.
Yeah, he's been in Cookson, The Aristocats.
Oh, yeah.
The Shootist, Bronco Billy, Zapped, The King of Marvin Gardens, with Jack Nicholson as well.
Yeah, they know each other.
Twilight Zone movie, Silver Streak, Two of a Kind, Scavenger Hunt, just to kind of give you guys an idea. Deadly Eyes, which is a killer animal movie, so if you like that.
Yeah.
Apparently he was in The Incredible Hulk, too. So,
cool. So...
Dick mentions an incident into which the previous owner committed a couple of murders of his family. And
he killed his 2 daughters and his wife, and then shot himself with a shotgun.
Yeah, which, if anything, kind of sounds like Amityville.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Except axe murdering, unfortunately, but...
Yeah. It's a bummer.
Into which Jack kind of just...
He laughs it off. Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of weird, because it's like...
He's like, whatever.
It's your family. It's not like somebody came in and killed your family. It was the father who killed his family. And already that kind of made me question, like, why isn't the hotel shut down at this point?
Yeah.
Or who doesn't know? Because you'd think that something like that would be under investigation.
Exactly. Because it would be, for sure.
Yeah, and not to mention, as well that, people would talk about that.
Yeah.
And you think that the authorities would say, well, there needs to be more than just maybe one family up here.
Exactly.
Because the more you kind of find out about the hotel, just to kind of give you an idea, is that there's more weird events that have happened here.
Oh, yeah, it's bizarre.
And it's really hard to figure out why nobody's said it unless you've kind of, unless you want to address it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Jack just kind of breezes it off. With that, Dick kind of shows them around.
Well, no. So right. After he comes back, then they all drive up together the day before it'll close, and then he's showing them around.
Okay, in which he connects a little bit with Danny.
Well,
the
cook does.
Was that not Dick? I thought that was Dick.
Was Dick? I thought Dick was the guy who ran it.
Unless that would be Larry. Maybe it was Larry who.
Yeah, it's Larry who's initially showing them around. Dick's the cook. He just shows them the kitchen.
Yeah, and Tony Burton is the one who plays Larry Durkin.
Yep. Oh yeah, Tony is another thing we should probably touch on real quick.
Oh yeah, he's dead, unfortunately. But he was in the Rocky movies.
I'm talking about the imaginary friend. Is that not the little friend? Tony.
Oh yeah, the finger puppet thing. Sorry, I was just mentioning too that he was in the Rocky movies, kind of get an idea of what he's been in. Which he's been in a lot of them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he does.
Danny.
He shows Danny like this little. Dick does. Shows him this weird finger. Was it a finger trick? The talking finger.
No, Danny always does that.
Oh, he showed him. That's all right.
That was just something we forgot to mention earlier, but it's a very important part of the movie.
Yeah, which is strange.
Danny has an imaginary friend who he talks about through his finger, called Tony. And he's like, rah, 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 rah. It's very weird.
Yeah, and the voice that he does is extra
deep
weird
and scraggly.
Yeah, like, I made the comment of like, you wouldn't think you'd have that type of voice until, you hit puberty.
Exactly.
Which is what makes it that much more unsettling, and just how raspy it is the other part that makes it so uncomforting as well. Into which, do you want to continue with kind of what Dick sees?
Yeah, so he calls him while Dick is showing them Jack's getting showed the rest of the place, but Dick is showing the mom and Danny the kitchen. He calls him Doc a few times, which the mom points out, how do you know that that's what we call him? We never called him that. And he goes, yeah, you did. And she's like, no, I don't think so. And then Danny hears him talking through his mind. And then later they're like, I'll get him some ice cream if you guys want to keep getting shown around to the place. And he starts talking with Danny about what his grandma called the shine, which is basically psychic powers. Not like moving things, but, talking with your mind or reading people's minds. And he's like, me and my granny used to have whole conversations without even saying anything. And the boy doesn't feel like he should talk about it because it's different. Right? That's the general...
Yeah.
That's the general vibe of things? Yeah.
Yeah, in which... Plus, anybody who thinks that somebody else is different, we all know what that results into.
Oh, yeah. Especially at that age. You want to be normal. You want to be like everybody else.
Yeah, fit in.
Fit in. Well. You don't want to get bullied.
And not to mention, too, like, at that age, too, to have an imaginary friend and kind of going about that. The first thing people say is, oh, you're insane, which is like... Mm-hmm.
Well, also earlier in the film, he had an episode where he saw, like, blood coming out of an elevator. He saw those twins standing there. He saw himself screaming, and then he passed out.
Yeah, which, fun times.
Yeah. No, yeah, totally. I would totally want that for my kid.
But after that, that's when everybody kind of leaves the hotel and is like, you're on your own.
Yep, good luck. Oh yeah, well, and then other things are mentioned. Other set pieces are mentioned during the tour, like the hedge maze, the snowcat, radios. What is the one? Oh yeah, the fact that it's built on an Indian burial ground, always nice.
Yeah, which is a common theme in Stephen King's
Oh yeah,
kind of stuff.
it's in Pet Sematary. I think there's some stuff about it in Dreamcatcher for sure. It's a common theme with him. Don't touch land that isn't yours, basically.
But it's cover writing.
Yeah.
It's cover writing. Which one of the things I know that you brought up, you said what I would imagine the cast kind of being like would it be an interracial couple if they were to remake it.
If they were to remake the movie, which we both agree, don't do it, please. Especially with the sequel that just came out. But we were both kind of at the thought of like, if they did an interracial couple, which I feel like in nowadays film climate they probably would. It probably Jack I feel like would still be white.
I feel like Jack would still be white, definitely, because it would. Yeah. What I kind of said was it would really defeat the purpose if Jack was not white.
Because there's kind of a message in it about colonization if you really watch it and think about it.
Yeah, I mean, and I know one of the things that you said too is like why don't you think that why don't you think that Wendy would be possibly Native American?
Well, that's because if it's on an Indian burial ground, they wouldn't mess with her.
Yeah, and she wouldn't be subjected to half the torture that...
She is, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the most important things to realize is that if they were to remake the movie, which hopefully they never do, like they're trying to do with The Exorcist, is that they wouldn't do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were to cast like that, it would be much better for them to pick somebody, I would say, like Latina or African American.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, or no, I said Asian or Latina.
Yeah.
I think it would make more sense. And the reason I said, not African American is because I feel like, they kind of share, Native Americans and African Americans kind of share the same, share that same kind of history of being taken from their homes and having, their way of life completely demolished.
If they're trying to get the same message through, it wouldn't translate as well.
Yeah. But, that's something that I think would have been cool. Because, I mean, I think with Wendy Torrance, one of the major tropes or major factors in every movie is that the character has to have undeserved suffering.
Yeah.
To which Wendy...
That's how you feel sympathy.
Undoubtedly is filled with unnecessary suffering. Mm-hmm. Even more so than Danny, I'd say.
Yeah. Because she doesn't even know what's...
happening. At least Danny has an idea and has the ability to somewhat defend himself, whereas Wendy is just trying to figure out...
She's frantic. She's freaking out.
How to protect her kid. Her husband is now gone from ex-alcoholic and recovering to completely psychopathic in the worst way.
Which we're getting to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so they're at the hotel, and they're there for like, what is it, a month, maybe?
I'm going to look that up because the time frame is a little... They don't really mark dates, and I feel like that would have helped this movie a lot.
100%. Like, we see snow at some point, but it's like... We need more than that, for sure.
Yeah. And I mean...
It just says, like, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like...
Yeah, and it really would have been nice.
If we had an idea...
Had an idea of what the time frame is, or had some dates of when they got there, because... Mm-hmm. The other thing, too, is it's all snowy there, so you can only assume it's, like, winter.
Yeah, but it's Colorado, so it's possible that, like, Well, they're watching it from May to... Or no, from October to May. Is how long they're supposed to be taking care of the place.
Yeah. And it says it was 5 months that went by.
Total?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they almost
made it.
Almost made it one.
Wait, you're telling me that's April in Colorado? All that snow?
Which I don't.
I don't buy that.
I have a friend from Colorado, and she would probably say against.
She would probably dispute that for sure.
But that's the same kind of thing with Fargo.
Oh yeah,
where it's like, oh, we took like a mix of Canadians and idiots and.
Well, driving around Moose Lake, I have lived in Minnesota my entire life. I have legitimately never heard anyone talk like that.
I love that. I love Fargo.
Yeah,
but
great movie.
I don't think that was a brilliant choice.
No.
I feel like that was really offensive.
No, and maybe who knows? The Coen brothers are from here, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they are. But like, maybe where they grew up, that is how people talk. But it's not how every Minnesotan talks.
Yeah, I just found it kind of like.
Well, in Fargo's North Dakota, not even Minnesota, but they are in Minnesota at some points in it.
Well, they go down to the cities and everything.
Moose Lake,
It looks like, Joel Coen was born in St. Louis Park.
Yeah.
So not that far from here.
No.
From where we are.
Don't give him our exact coordinates. Jesus, we might have stalkers, man.
Well, I didn't say where.
He didn't say the address. We'll put that in the description. If you like and comment on this, all right, never
mind. And then Ethan was born in St. Louis Park as well.
I'd assume they are brothers.
You never know. They could have moved within that time period.
They are twins.
No, they're not. Are they?
I'm pretty sure there's not that big of a gap between them.
No, it's 2-year difference.
Okay, that's not big, though.
So.
All right.
What can happen in 2 years? Anyway, though.
Yeah.
5 months in total, which, you can kind of...
Cabin fever will settle in regardless of if there's any ghostly tampering.
And I think the only really way to gauge this movie in terms of how long it took over the course of is by trying to establish each week that's gone by with the days. It's a little bit repetitive, and I don't necessarily agree with that choice, but alas, I would almost argue that maybe Stanley Kubrick was trying to give that the case of insanity too. Mm-hmm. Maybe like how many days have gone by.
Yeah, like we as the audience can't even tell.
Yeah, which, I approve of that. I feel though it would have been more effective to kind of maybe after giving a showcase as the months go by, that would have been more effective to be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, all of a sudden we went from 2 weeks to it's been a month now that they've been here.
Exactly.
And then kind of like at the end, kind of blend everything together and, like the maybe flash 4 or 5 months. Mm-hmm. But everything appears to be fine. Danny's just kind of on his...
he's on his big wheel. Just riding around.
Riding around, minding his own business. Jack is trying to type up, what is a novel?
Yeah, he's making a book, because he's also a writer, so that's why he took the job to get some seclusion and do some writing.
Which would be beautiful. It'd be better if it wasn't snowing outside. But
yeah.
The Overlook Hotel, I really like the location that they picked, because, again, if you heard Overlook, you'd be thinking to see something... Overlooking something beautiful.
Yeah.
Preferably not like a dump or a graveyard.
Yeah. Wow.
Even
Why'd
though
you go there?
Decided to build over a graveyard, but whatever.
Yeah. Ugh.
But Jack is minding his own business. Wendy is kind of, I don't know what she's doing. She's kind of
hanging out. She's cooking. She's kind of exploring.
Happy that she's with her family.
They wander around in the maze for a little while.
Her and Danny.
Yeah.
Which they have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I really like how strongly the mother-son bond is in this movie.
Yeah, me too.
It's not unnaturally done, and it's not overdone either.
No, not at all.
It really expresses, like, a mother's love for her kid, even when things are in the darkest of times, how much a mother will be willing to sacrifice, knowing that it's her kid.
Yeah, exactly. And Jack kind of seems okay at first. Like, nothing really too strange is happening. It's just kind of...
He's just, I'd say, off. Because you can tell that he's recovering.
He doesn't start out off.
No. I mean, he starts off as kind of like... I think that's just Jack Nicholson as a person. Where he's just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, because, like, when he first got the interview to get the job... He, like, called up his wife and was like, hey, babe, I'm probably going to be a little late. And then, like, when they're getting the interview, their arms are around each other. They're very affectionate. And then, like, she makes him breakfast while they're there, and, like, they're all very happy. And it's a very slow burn.
Yeah, but not in a repetitive way. Like,
no.
You really would not think that this movie is 2 hours and 26 minutes at all.
No.
So just about 4 minutes shy of 3 hours.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to point out, too, that kind of is in the beginning that a lot of people were saying is that there's a darker theme to this movie that people have some theories about as well.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the weirdest things, too, that, you know, and I know that Stanley Kubrick is known for is putting some darker elements and sprinkling them throughout his movies,
mm-hmm.
is the idea of something darker, in which case, for Jack, that is the fact that he is holding a playgirl.
Oh, yeah, because yeah.
Which a lot of people, given later in the film, almost wonder if Danny suffered some sort of explicit abuse from Jack at one point, too.
Yeah, because it's very weird for him to be holding that just openly in a lobby.
And not to mention, it's not a Playboy either. It's got all males in it, so why...
Yeah.
You know, if you're married to...
A
woman who you obviously are affectionate for...
Yeah.
And have a child together, what makes you want to pick up
a magazine of guys posing?
Yeah, which again too is also kind of like why, you know, and maybe we saw it differently. But I mean, I just felt like, you know, driving up with his family, I felt like he was kind of annoyed with Danny's questions.
He looked a bit, yeah.
That's why I say I feel like things were a little bit off with him. He just kind of looked annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you gonna ask questions this whole damn trip?
Exactly. You should have ate earlier. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, I feel like he was a little off when he got there. Because, I mean, and it's revealed that he is an ex-alcoholic to trying to recover. So, I mean, that could be kind of the stimulus of maybe still withdrawal and kind of struggling with that. You know, I'm going to be in seclusion. There's probably going to be alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a hotel, and it could be the stress of knowing that.
Well, and then later they say that they take all the alcohol with them, and he goes, it's great. No one here drinks a drop. Like, he seems relieved.
Yeah. And so it's temptation, because that's everybody's worst nightmares, to see something that, you know, they've been battling to get away from.
Just there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he, like, from the story that his wife said, it sounded like he was genuinely sorry that he hurt Danny, because he said, like, I'm never going to touch it again. If I do, leave me. And it's like, I don't know many people who would say that, you know?
Even just being sober, or just be, like, the basic drift of it.
Yeah, exactly. Because getting clean and getting sober is not easy.
It's not an easy task, and those who
are struggling with it or are able to do it, if you did it, good job. We're proud of you. And if you are trying to do it, we're here and we're with you.
And hopefully this helps you.
Yeah.
Kind of get your mind off things, because that's what
I would love to hear that somehow, us talking about movies, you know, something that seems so
insignificant,
insignificant and trivial, really, just like helps you be better.
Yeah.
Like,
because that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I personally, because we do the show, I don't feel like it has much of a reach, but I mean, people are listening to it, so apparently it does. Like, I don't know. It's a weird thing to think about.
It is,
because knowing that you talking about movies is having an effect on someone you will probably never meet in your life.
It means a lot.
Interesting. Yeah, and it makes me happy to think as well. But it also is interesting to process. You know? Yeah. It's definitely... You get the same, I'm sure, with making movies.
Oh, definitely. Definitely, undoubtedly.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that, you know, my films are making somebody very, very happy is, you know, that's all I want to do. This is what I want to do. Why I came into it is because I want people to be happy.
Same. And if I can, like, if my art can do that, I've done my job. Cool.
Exactly. So, you know, everything is fine in the hotel. Everybody seems to be pretty happy, moderately minding their own business, yada, yada, yada. And then we kind of get a...
Well, earlier the cook told him... Are you talking about the room?
Yeah.
Yeah, earlier the cook said, don't go in the room.
which is 237 in the movie version.
Yes, 217 in the book. He told Danny never go in that room. And Danny, like, riding by it, sees the room. And I guess he went in, because when he comes out, when his mom finds him, he's got, like, red marks on his neck. And she immediately accuses Jack of doing it. Yeah,
which, at this point, Jack has been kind of acting...
He's been losing it a little bit.
Yeah, because prior to seeing this, too, before Danny goes in that room, we get a scene of him typing where he completely just cusses out Wendy and is like, if you hear me...
I'm trying to concentrate, and now I have to start all over again.
Yeah. And if you hear me doing this, and he makes the typing sound, he's like, then I am busy, so do not bother me. Now. And he's like, do you understand? So just in a very aggressive manner.
Yeah, it's very... He's treating her more like a secretary than a wife. Like...
And it really shows that, Wendy is like, have you been hitting the bottle again or something?
Yeah. Well, and then when she finds him, like, and he, like, has a nervous breakdown, and he's like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. And she goes, it's okay. You're okay.
That's,
But then Danny walks in with the red marks.
Yeah.
And she's like, you hit him, you son of a bitch. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, well, the other thing, too, is that she leaves before Danny comes in, too. Because he tells her to start by walking the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
And then she comes back, finds him, and then Danny walks in.
Well, she comes back, finds him having his night terror, and...
Yeah, because he starts screaming in his sleep.
Yeah. He's like, like, just very nondescript noises.
Yeah, into which she runs in, and then Danny comes in, and then she freaks out. Because, I mean, it's kind of like, how are you supposed to feel when, A, you just cussed her out, and then she's trying to be sympathy for you, and how do you know you're not putting on an act to distract?
She's got a heart of gold, does she not? Like, she's willing to just trust you and help you no matter what was said earlier, because at the end of the day, it is still her husband,
And that means a lot. I mean, it shows the strength of one person towards their relationship, because
they're not easy.
Especially to have somebody who's an alcoholic or has an addiction.
Substance abuse at some point, sure.
Yeah, it's very hard, because it's very hard for the person to admit that they have a problem or to try and...
Yeah, which is not a weakness, by the way.
It's not a weakness.
No, asking for help doesn't mean you're weak. It actually means you're stronger, because you're admitting you're vulnerable to someone.
Because it's so much easier, and even though people don't like to think about it, it is so much easier to say... I'm just going to keep this to myself and hope it goes away, and it'll go away on its own. When in reality,
spoiler alert, it won't.
It won't. It'll make things much worse, because then you're much more reserved and not willing to make any sort of change. So for those people, like we said, who are going through addiction, congratulations. It is a very hard thing to do, Yeah. To be out there.
We're here for you.
So...
if you want to, I'll say it real quick. If you want to, because our email is linked to our YouTube, correct?
I believe so. It should be nerdshour@gmail.com.
Yeah, feel free if you ever want to reach out, just to talk to somebody. We're here. Yeah.
Yeah, always. It's a very important thing, and any way we can help, and to make some time for you, that's always a good thing. So never feel.
Never feel alone, because you're not.
Never feel alone, because you're never alone. There's always going to be somebody there to help you.
Yeah.
So going back, we have Wendy take out Danny, into which Jack is kind of still sitting there in a daze. You can kind of tell that he's going back to his kind of possessed state.
Yeah. Very dark.
But he's still kind of sitting there in a haze. And, it's kind of one of the things that, like the Deadites did in The Evil Dead, which we talked about in that episode, how they kind of it's not just we're going to, play your face. It's let's release you to kind of toy.
For a second, yeah.
And then we'll take over your body again, and then you won't know what's happening. So we get that. Wendy takes Danny, takes care of him, and then some time passes. Jack has apparently been sleeping in a different room, I would assume.
Yeah. Well, and then I guess Danny told her that it was a woman in the room who did that to him. And she tells him. and now he's mad because she accused him of something, right?
Yeah, accused him of something, and then I'm pretty sure she's concerned. Like, what do you mean, woman?
Yeah, exactly. It's weird because they're, as far as she knows, they're the only people there.
And it's like, did Jack bring somebody in, or is there somebody that just decided to camp out in the hotel?
Yeah, she's frightened.
Yeah,
and he's just kind of like, I don't give a shit.
Which, I mean, I don't blame him necessarily. At the same time,
I mean, if someone accused me of doing something and then found out that I didn't and tried to get sympathy out of me, I'd be like, no, give me a second.
You just accused me of hurting my kid when I did not hurt my kid.
Yeah.
I mean, just grant his past. I mean, it is
reasonable. It would be my first guess. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to not. But after that, we kind of get a little bit of we get a little bit more of just Wendy and Danny kind of connecting. And is that when he has one of his first episodes?
Well, he sees the little girls at some point.
I think
Come play with us, Danny.
Oh, that's before he enters 237.
Yeah.
When he's riding around, and then he's just minding his own business, and then he sees the twins in the hallway, and then gets these...
Well, it's a good fake out, too, because there's a lot of separate scenes of him just riding around, big takes, long takes, and then just out of nowhere, he turns a corner and sees the two girls standing there, and it flashes between them talking in unison, and them covered in blood with axe wounds in their chests.
Yeah, from being hacked up.
By their dad.
And I think in a sense, because Danny has the shine, he kind of has an idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah, because the guy explains you can see what's going to happen, you can see what has happened. Like, it's also almost like seeing the future or the past. Yeah.
Because, I mean, in essence, the shine is like the Force. Everything is connected into one.
Oh my gosh, is that why Ewan McGregor plays him in Doctor Sleep?
That would be interesting.
Another Jedi.
I almost wonder if that's partially why Ewan McGregor did take it, because I haven't listened to any of his interviews, but I think that's probably, if I had to guess, that's probably why he took it. He probably finds that kind of supernatural thing. Like, regardless of how you feel about Star Wars, you can't deny that the Force is interesting, how it...
Regardless how you feel about the prequels, he did good.
Or Disney. I feel like, it is one of those interesting things that you kind of get to think about. Like, what would it be like to be connected to people like that? And to be able to have more insight if you connected yourself. And even if you aren't sensitive to that, if you can still find a way to exercise that and become stronger with it.
Exactly.
And I feel like, Dr. Sleep does a really good job of defining that. As you will see in the movie, which doesn't really spoil anything if you've seen the trailer.
Exactly.
So, I like how they toy with that element, and I really like how everything is a brief flash.
Yeah, like it's just on the screen for a second.
Which I love it because it indicates Danny's... Because we get a POV shot, basically, of what it would be looking like down the hallway from him, not from behind him.
Yeah.
And... I love how it really kind of gives the idea of the flashes of, like, he's just seeing bits and pieces of the past. But just enough to be like, oh shit, this isn't normal, and I'm actually seeing this.
Yeah, exactly. Why am I seeing this? Yeah.
Into which, fast forwarding back to him and Wendy, I think, doesn't he have another fit? Is this where he has kind of his other fit with the elevator, or is that later?
Well, he saw the elevator thing at the beginning of the movie. That was also one of his flashes with the blood coming out of it.
But he sees it again later.
Yeah, he sees that multiple times too. Don't we get Jack hallucinating the bartender soon?
Yeah, I think that's actually what he's doing during this time. He ends up heading to the bar. And
he's walking around, yeah.
He's just trying to walk things off, clear his head, and that's where he meets Lloyd, the bartender, is played by Joe Turkel.
Yeah, he does great.
Yeah, and it gives a sense like I know that you mentioned the Chris Pratt movie and what's her name? Who was in it?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah, and Chris Pratt Passengers. There was a bar scene, quite a few with Chris Pratt where he talks to this automated.
It's a robot bartender.
But the upper half of him is human.
And he's got the Shining clothes, or the hotel uniform.
Yeah, and it's an illuminated bar as well, because it's on Spaceship. And that's kind of the same here. It's a beautifully illuminated bar. Shelves are illuminated. It's got a nice clean mirror. The bar's got almost like a lighting strip in it. It's partially wood with lights in it in between.
Yeah.
Kind of like Golden Oreo, which are delicious.
Oh, God. This episode is not sponsored.
No, but Golden Oreos are good. You should try some.
Yeah.
But, it's a beautiful shot. It's a beautiful scene. And then we kind of get Jack and Lloyd kind of talking out.
They have a nice back and forth.
Yeah, and he kind of, gives him a bit of whiskey, which is already a no-no.
Yeah. Don't jump back on the wagon, you idiot.
But it loosens Jack up, gets him to kind of relax, and then he kind of just lets out his feelings of feeling like, he can let loose a little bit.
Yeah, and he talks about how it was a mistake, what he did to Danny, and he feels like it's unfair that it keeps getting held over his head by his wife.
Because he never meant to do it.
No.
And he's already aware that he's done it, so he doesn't want to hear it.
He already feels horrible about it, yeah.
Yeah, which I get why she kind of looms over his head.
Yeah, I would.
It's a reminder. Like, this is who you don't want to be.
Yeah, this is why you gave up what you're doing. This is a reason to not do it again. And
I feel like, as he's kind of spewing that story too, he's feeling bad that he's doing the same thing again.
Yeah.
And it's one of those few times that you sympathize with Jack, because you can see that he's trying, but he's human. He's cracking.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone would.
Yeah, and, the temptation's there. I mean, it's kind of like, if you put a steak in front of a lion, or if somebody cooks you a delicious steak and sets it in front of you and says, don't eat it.
Or like, I saw this video today just online. Somebody shared it. This guy was hiking in a park, like a wildlife park area. I can't remember where it was, but he has a video of him like slowly backing away from a cougar, and it followed him for 6 minutes down this trail. Like, just followed him. And like, it would randomly like pounce at him, and it's like, yeah, dude, it's tempted to eat you. Like, well, you're in its territory as well. Like,
it was smarter of him not to run, because that would have been
then it would have chased you and jumped on you.
I think looking at it, so I mean, it's a tempt of fate, like,
Yeah, that's a temptation is to run away, because that thing could up and kill you at any moment it decides.
And the whiskey is the example. Are you gonna run away from your problems by embracing running back to the thing that caused you the most pain, or are you gonna stick it out?
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you see a social experiment too, like when people put $100 bill on the ground, they're like, are you gonna take it?
Yeah, exactly.
Or if somebody drops it, are you gonna take it for yourself, or are you gonna be a good Samaritan? Or are you gonna leave it for somebody else who might need it?
Yeah, that's the thing I heard about with the Postal Service that apparently they'll do. Apparently, when you're working for them, driving a truck, they will pick a house and they will leave a dollar bill on the lawn, and you're not supposed to take it because it's somebody else's property. Oh, and did I forget to mention they have someone watching you to make sure you don't take it? Yeah. Thoughts?
I mean, it is only $1, but at the same time, it's a moral thing, because if you can't trust them with $1, because you never know, there might be a small package that you're like, hey, this is
the DVD I want. Like,
yeah, it's a DVD, and or you see a little bit, and it's like, well, if you can't refrain from taking $1, what's to stop you from taking another small thing?
Yeah,
which always leads to bigger things.
For me, it's also a thing of like, I would just be paranoid. That's why I could never work at the Postal Service. Yeah, the idea that someone could always be watching me just terrifies the crap out of me. I already live in America, okay? Like, I don't.
Yeah, and it's understandable. But then we get a little bit more with Jack kind of conversating with Lloyd, and then that's when we get what is it that we kind of get next?
It's
I'm trying to think.
Well, Lori, what's the wife's name?
Wendy,
sorry. She kind of talk with the phones go out, don't they?
Yeah, so she radios up to the ranger station?
Yeah. Police station, ranger station, something like that.
And she asks, we're not getting any calls out. The tower's down, in which they tell her, yeah, due to the storm, they're knocked out, and we're not going to get up there for a little bit because of how bad the storm is. Mm-hmm. It's too dangerous. Because one of the things, too, that you see at the beginning of the movie is just how steep or, and narrow that the cliffs are.
And you add snow to that? Hell no.
Yeah, it's like you're going to go into the ice. We don't want to do a Misery here.
Oh, God, no. Yeah.
So, totally understandable why they don't want to go up there. It's a safety thing. Mm-hmm. But things progressively get worse after that. Jack starts to get much worse and much darker.
Yeah. It's a cabin fever thing. It's also the hotel messing with his mind. It's a lot.
It's just, I think, of not having the book, also having alcohol and feeling guilty about that.
Yeah,
and,
writing.
All this guilt, all this stress, and then, he's further than his family than he's ever been. And I think, in his mind, this is supposed to be a way for him to reconnect with his family without flat out saying, let's be a family again. It was supposed to be his way of kind of showing that he wants to change and connect while still trying to get some other stuff done. Despite his irritability of what it seems at the beginning of the film.
Exactly.
And we get to a point where Wendy confronts him. Or no, he ends up going into room 237.
Yeah, and we see a nude woman in a bathtub.
Yeah, who comes out, and Jack doesn't really know what to think. And I think that, I don't really know if Jack was into it. I think he was more just like,
I'm frozen, whatever. Yeah, what's happening? Because she embraces him, they both embrace, they kiss.
And then in the mirror, he realizes that, she has decaying all up and down her back and on her buttocks as well. And then
he looks at her and she turns into an old woman who's just kind of laughing
which
at
is
him.
An old hag moldy witch, which the practical effects were amazing.
Yeah.
She went from absolutely beautiful to, the young woman was played by Leah Beldam.
Okay.
She is currently, doesn't say, but she is from Switzerland.
Oh.
Zurich, Switzerland.
Okay.
And the old lady was played by Billy Gibson.
Okay.
So it wasn't the same woman that I thought. And she's only been in The Shining for that one movie.
For that one part, yeah.
Yeah, so I was right. They did get another actress entirely and then just put makeup on her.
Yep. But then, does he hallucinate the party next?
I think so.
Yeah.
So he walks back to the bar to kind of be like, okay, what the fuck, I need a drink.
Yeah.
Which, already shows that...
Go ahead.
That he was, that his addiction is kicked back in. Mm-hmm. And he's finally losing all control. We then see him kind of start to socialize, but this time, the reason that he's drawn to the dance room, the main ballroom, is because of the fact that he can hear the amazing song, "Midnight the Stars and You" playing from a distance, into which when he walks in, he sees all these different people, all dressed up in a suit, all having a fancy dance and a fancy dinner.
Looks like the 20s.
Yeah, the Roaring 20s dance, everything's going, fun, happy, which is only 10 years before the Great Depression.
Yeah. In 21. Well, no, if it's in 21, Depression started in 29, so 8.
8 years before then, but still happier times.
Much happier. People didn't understand what bad credit was yet. Oh, dare to dream.
Yeah, but that's kind of the Bank of America's fault, too.
Yeah. But we don't want to get political. Yeah. So he gets another drink from Lloyd.
And in which he also, after talking to him a bit, he stumbles into, he doesn't stumble, he starts to walk, and Delbert Grady, the man who hacked up his family, bumps into him while waiting.
He's a waiter, yeah.
What even is that? It's like a smoothie.
Yeah, it looks like maybe some type of margarita shot. I don't know.
Yeah, because it looked like nacho cheese, honestly.
Yeah, it really looked out of place.
Yeah, but he is played by Philip Stone, and into which he's like, "Oh, let me help you." So he tries to wipe up Jack, which Jack is obviously visibly pissed because it's like, really?
Yeah,
but I think at the same time he's still trying to figure out, is this actually real? Because we're the only ones here. And I really like that. I think that was a nice touch. Jack trying to figure out the entire movie if he's actually hallucinating and seeing all this shit, or if it's completely real. So he kind of stumbles in. He kind of walks with and stumbles in a little bit with Delbert into the bathroom, into which we get kind of one of our controversial things that kind of shows a little bit of the colors that Stanley Kubrick has.
Because we get before this, Danny's been psychically connecting with the cook.
With Dick.
Yeah, and Dick called. They haven't been getting any radio responses. So he decides to fly down there to Colorado. After
Danny has his episode, which this is during when Jack was in the room.
Yeah.
Into which he singles out to Dick that something is wrong by completely just losing it, which is another beautiful shot because Danny is blue.
Yeah.
And he is just paranoid. He's squinting his eyes. It's almost like he's having a seizure.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In a sense.
But he's gonna fly down to make sure everyone's okay.
Yeah. After that, we get Delbert talking to Jack about how things have occurred here, yada yada yada, and that you should be worried because somebody is coming. And he's like, who? And that's when he says the N-word.
Yeah.
Which wasn't necessary at all.
No.
I mean, I can appreciate it from the time period.
Yeah, if it was the 20s, that would have been language that would have been used, but...
I still feel like it was unnecessary.
Very.
It didn't need to be said. But also, I just want to make another note, too, that Philip Stone was also... he died in 2003, unfortunately, of a heart attack.
Oh.
But he was in A Clockwork Orange, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Flash Gordon, Green Ice...
Cool.
Hitler the Last 10 Days, to kind of give you a touch. So it's kind of been a lot of stuff, a lot of older movies. So if you guys want to check that out.
Yeah. So then he tells him, he's like, you're going to have to kill your family. And he's kind of like, all right.
Yeah, which I think that's the point where he really becomes unhinged because he just doesn't know what to believe anymore. I think a lot of Jack's and Sandy, too, besides the hotel manipulating him with all those souls, is that... that was kind of the push over the edge because he just... I think part of it is he just lost the mental battle of just being like, why even bother?
Exactly. Why am I fighting this? Let's lean in, you know?
It's so much easier, and I have no idea what's actually real and what's not at this point.
Exactly. So then doesn't she his wife finds the words, right? The pages.
Yeah. Wendy comes in, finds next to the typewriter... she finds that Jack has written out, which you said was written all by Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, he did it himself on a typewriter. All the distinct writings, apparently.
Yeah, which I was like, did they just find a way to print that or something? But I was like, no,
Nope.
time period. But yeah, he sat and wrote all of them.
That would have taken hours.
But yeah, it's got all play. And you said that the words are a little bit different too, the more you look at them.
The majority of it says all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, but... just over and over, but there are some where if you look at it, it says like a dull bod, a dull bog, like it kind of randomly just is different, like.
And they're clumped together at some points. They're formatted differently too. Mm-hmm. At times, there's some spaces like they're supposed to be paragraphs, double lapped or overlapping each other. And
it's
stuff
weird.
Like that. It's very weird.
And Jack sees her and. He, starts yelling at her because she's like, Dad, our son's sick. We should take him to a doctor. And he goes, I have a contract to protect this. He's going full crazy.
As soon as possible.
Yeah. And then she has a bat and she's, swinging it at him. And he goes, don't do it. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. And it's like, okay. Was that a pretty good impression?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just going to bash them the fuck in.
Yeah, the fuck in.
Well, now your hair looks like Jack Nicholson.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been trying. You guys can't see it visually, but I got the full Nicholson. So, but then she hits him in his hand, and he goes, ow! And then she hits him in the head, and I'm like, yay! Get your son and get out.
To say that, Shelley Duvall was tortured on the set is an understatement. she was mentally abused. And for those, unfortunately, if you've heard that she did not work in a lot of movies and had a lot of problems in her life. She made an appearance as Dr. Phil to talk about it too, but she had a lot of mental health issues from the way that Stanley had people treat her on the set, which was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, he basically told her, don't talk to her, don't be nice to her, be rude to her if you can.
Which, I don't care how much method acting, that is completely unprofessional.
Or how much performance you're trying to get out of an actor. Here's the thing. They're actors. They can pretend. You don't need to forcibly make them mentally ill.
Was that Gwyneth Paltrow or Jessica Chastain that they had one director that got up in their face and was screaming all sorts of obscenities at them? Because I think that was Stanley Kubrick. Or was that Martin Scorsese?
I don't know. I'm not sure, honestly.
Because there's another actress who, in recent times,
I feel like Jessica Chastain wouldn't take any shit from anybody, though. She's a badass.
I think it might have been Gwyneth Paltrow. And they had one of the directors, one of the more well-known, screamed all sorts of obscenities at her.
Jeez.
And sexist things to try and get her to cry for a scene.
Jeez. No.
And
fuck you.
The rest of the cast and even the main guy was standing up for her okay, no, this is wrong.
Yeah.
You can't be doing this.
Exactly.
This is not right. And I think the crew, even though some of the crew was okay, you need to stop. Yeah. This is too much.
Jeez, that's crazy.
But I'm trying to think of who it is. I'll think of it, but
yeah.
A lot of, I think, the terror in Shelley Duvall's eyes playing Wendy, a lot of Wendy's terror was actually real.
Yeah.
And I did hear stories too that, it's intimidating to work with Jack Nicholson because it's scary, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I could. I don't know.
It's scary. She's demeanor and everything. But after that, she runs to go comfort Danny and to kind of start to get them to get a move on to get out of there. Into which
she after he gets knocked out, she drags him into the freezer.
Oh yeah, places him in the freezer.
Okay?
Yeah, no, I completely forgot. She drags him into the freezer, locks him in there, and then he starts to talk about what does he start saying?
He's hearing the butler guy again. He goes, you're not doing so well for us, Jack. We're beginning to think we made the wrong decision or something. He goes, well, give me another chance. I can do this. I can kill them.
Yeah. So he's already completely lost it.
Yeah, but they let him out. The ghosts let him out of the thing.
Yeah, right as Dick is showing up, and then we get Wendy, who goes to comfort Danny while Danny's having another fit.
Mm-hmm. And he's saying red rum, and he writes red rum on the wall, and she has a kitchen knife, and he picks it up, and he's writing it on the mirror with some lipstick, and she sees it
backwards in the mirror and sees it's murder. And needless to say, she pretty much shits her pants. Cause
I would. You kidding me? My kid just wrote murder backwards.
with you waking up or seeing the bed with him
holding a knife,
red rum with a knife, and then your husband going completely psycho and saying that he's gonna just bash your brains in. So obviously she's confused, and I think when she said that line, I think it's both the character and Shelly just being I am so confused as to what's happening right now.
Exactly. But then he starts to come in.
No.
Yeah, he's got the axe.
Dick.
He kills Dick after.
That's right.
Yeah, so he comes up to their place. She locks herself and Danny in the bathroom. Opens the window. The window is perfectly sloped against a gigantic snowdrift because they're snowed in. So Danny squeezes through the window. He can kind of slide out. She tries to get out. She can't. He's just kind of knocking down the door with the axe. And he's like, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in, and his...
Which is scary because the way he emphasizes it, what is that? Not by the hairs of my chin chin chin.
He really looks like he's having fun with it.
And then he just gives this face, and he's just
Yeah.
He's just awaiting, this most intense response,
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
For him, it always seems playful.
Yeah. When he plays Joker and Batman.
Well, yeah, and that was the scariest part. With his face, he just seems like he's just playing. He's just having fun. It's not a I want to immediately kill you. It's like, I want to toy with you, like a cat toys with a mouse.
Yeah. But then he gets in, he, like, breaks down the door, gets his face in,
line.
here's Johnny, improvised, apparently.
Which was a very big reference in It Chapter 2 when Beverly's in the bathroom and Henry Bark goes, here's Johnny! That was the best.
That was great. You know they did that just because of The Shining. But,
oh, of course.
Anyways, he tries to reach in to unlock, but she, like, scratches at his hand with the knife. And then he leaves because he knows that, he hears that Dick has showed up. So he runs down. Dick's kind of walking through. It's kind of a long shot of him just walking around the hotel. And he gets stabbed in the chest with the axe. And Danny senses it. And it's crazy.
Feels his pain.
Yeah, of getting hit in the chest with an axe.
Yeah, and...
Nothing a child should ever have to feel.
The other thing, too, is that you said, like, in the novel that Dick does not die.
No. Nope. Doesn't die. So
that was one big change.
That was one big surprise for everybody.
But I feel like that was necessary. Dr. Sleep really emphasizes that, too. But after that, we have Wendy who's escaped.
She starts seeing the fun stuff.
But she starts seeing all the murdered twins, all the other helpless souls that have lost their lives. The blowjob bear.
Oh, God. Why? Why? What is the purpose? Why?
Which, in the book, they explain all those people. And
Thank God they explain it.
Yeah, so these are not just random things. In the book, it is explained specifically why you get somebody with their ass hanging out in a bear suit giving a blowjob to
You heard it first. We get an explanation and an origin story for Blowjob Bear.
For everybody. Well, for literally everybody. Because everybody has a very bizarre set. And they're all people who lost their lives and souls to the hotel over time.
You get the guy with his head caved in, and then you see the elevator and the blood comes out. And meanwhile, isn't Jack chasing Danny in the hedge maze?
Yeah, he's trying to catch Jack, who's just running all over, doesn't know what to do.
Jack's trying to catch
Danny's just trying to run all over while trying not to get caught by Jack, in which he does something very smart.
Yeah, genius kid.
Retraces his father's steps so that way he can't see where either of them have been. In which Jack just assumes that, I think at that point, that things are just getting covered up. Mm-hmm. But you can tell that he just starts to completely lose it. He's just so pissed off.
Yeah.
And, I wonder how that worked, too, for the cast, because that must have been uncomforting.
Yeah.
Because there's a wide shot of that maze, and that is a huge maze.
I wouldn't want to step near it. I can't even solve a Rubik's Cube. You think I'm getting out of a hedge maze? Hell no. Not without some hedge clippers.
No, and it's like running in a cornfield. Or for those of you who have read the book Tall Grass by Stephen King, and Joe Hill, which is his son, I believe. They both wrote together.
Yep.
It was a Netflix movie, and there's one scene where this girl jumps up above the grass.
Nope.
And then jumps up again, and she's so far from the church. She goes from literally, like, the beginning of the cornfield, or of the grass field, tall grass. She jumps up, and then she's literally, like, 2 miles away.
Jeez.
Have you seen the trailer?
I have not. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, she jumps up. She's like here.
Mm-hmm.
Look, she's like literally right here from the church. Jumps up. She's fine. Jumps up again. She's all the way over here. Jeez. Like it is like a dot. It is freaky. Patrick. The
dude from Aquaman.
Yeah.
And the Conjuring movies. Patrick something. He's in it.
And Insidious. In the Insidious.
Yeah.
He's friends with James Wan. Or, as one particular person says, James Wan.
Hey, listen, it sounds like a Jersey gangster. Look, it's James Wan.
Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson. I knew it was a last name that could sound like a first name.
Yeah, and, but yeah, Patrick Wan, or...
James Wan. Patrick
Wilson.
Patrick Wilson.
Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
Or Sam Raimi.
Mm-hmm. Sam Raimi. Oh.
I'm sorry, I have to, because I'm like... You always get me. I'm like, at least I can pronounce people's names.
No. I can.
I wasn't referring to you.
All right.
I just meant at least I can pronounce people's names. I don't call them Sam Whammy and James Wan.
No, so then Danny gets out of the hedge maze and Jack gets lost. And then, luckily, Dick took a snowcat to get there. So him and his mom get in the snowcat. They drive away. And Jack freezes to death. And that's kind of our movie.
Yeah.
Which is different, because I know the Shining ends, the book ends...
with...
the boiler room exploding, destroying the hotel,
but
and
Jack
killing the
goes
dad.
down there.
Yeah.
I don't think he goes down there possessed and try and kill his family, and then blows up, and so a lot of people, or I mean Stephen King particularly, did not like this ending. He hated it. I don't know why.
Probably because it's not nearly as dramatic. Then again, you don't get really anything as dramatic as an explosion. You know?
I mean, I felt more Stephen King, or I mean more Michael Bay. I like not having...
Maybe that's why he did it, though. Because, like, think about all of his other books. It's kind of like a very muted, very whim type of just, blah, you know. This was the one time he wrote something with an explosion at the end. He probably wanted to see it when he heard the movie was getting made, you know?
Yeah, and to which he did in his own adaptation, which I wouldn't say it was the greatest explosion. It was on a budget. But I mean, what do you expect for the 80s?
Explosions on a budget. There's the title of my new indie band.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's what they thought too.
Yeah.
Because, again, you are blowing up a mini replica, and those take time.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, it's like the original Pet Sematary. Do you know how they filmed the house fire for that?
No.
It's very fast. You would love to hear about this. So, because in the end of the movie, the house burns down. So how they did that was they fireproofed the house and then built the same, like, exterior of the house on top of the house and then set that on fire. So it looks from outside like the house is burning down, when in actuality, it's not. They just built itself outside of itself.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating shot. But I do like miniatures, I will say.
Yeah, but they do take a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I mean, the final shot that we get to see, which I think is open to interpretation, is Jack in the photo of the 1921, minus the stoned girl who's like,
look at that photo. I want to do a video where we look at that photo and just point out everybody, because we get a girl who's right next to Jack who just looks so wasted. Like, her eyes are closed, like, not even squinted. Her mouth's, like, to the side, like...
And I'm pretty sure it's the crew in the background that they put in that film.
And we see, like, a lot of guys who are definitely guys in dresses. Like...
Yeah, and it's odd, but definitely funny for a laugh. But I think what the ending pretty much says in that photo is a lot of people said it was reincarnation. I think it was really more or less... When I really think about it, it
trapped his soul.
It trapped his soul, yeah. It is a picture of everybody who has lost their lives to the Overlook Hotel.
Yeah, and that's kind of the message of it. That's the message you could take from it.
Barter.
If you go back into addiction, you could lose yourself forever. Until death.
And I think that's way better than the reincarnation theory.
Yeah.
I think it really shows that the Overlook will always take because of what was taken from those who were at rest.
Yeah. Well, there's other theories about this movie, too. Some don't make any sense for me. Like, one theory is about how that's the same set that the moon landing was faked on, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
no, there's too many outlandish theories.
Too many. Way too many.
You know... And touch up on one more thing, the sensitive topic of with Jack, and Danny. There are a lot of things that you can look up because it is actually quite a popular question that's asked. Did Jack assault Danny?
Yeah.
During that, because I don't know if there's any implications of the book. I think it was just the movie.
No, I think it's just the movie. Yeah.
And it's the
Kubrick dark undertone.
Yeah, it's the 70s Playgirl magazine that's targeted at women.
Sorry. Yeah.
The implication along with a number of metaphors. And one scene is when...
He's sitting on his lap.
He's sitting on his lap and he keeps playing with his hair, which, there's a father and son moment, but I mean, it'd still be weird if a mother kind of played with her kid's hair for too long. But given the tone that Jack has already been noted to be a little off, and just the Jack Nicholson vibe too of playing the insane character, it really makes you think, especially after he's gone crazy, the way that he keeps toying with his hair, and the way he keeps rubbing his back.
There's a lot you can draw from that.
And Danny's silence, and very mortified look.
It's his muteness throughout the whole experience.
Yeah. One last note to make about this movie too. Some of the cool awards it got was Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor, and the Saturn Award for Best DVD and Blu-ray Collection.
That's cool. That's a nice award to have.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. I'd suggest getting the DVD and the Blu-ray. Both of them have tons of special features, which are great behind the scenes. Yeah, they're very documentaries. I think there's 2 on the DVD version that I have, the special edition. So if you're a film student or somebody like me who just likes the behind the scenes, seeing all the workings, especially for a Stephen King movie and how they brought to life from the screen, it's definitely worth out there. So, but with that is The Shining. Thank you all for joining us. I know it was a bit of a bumpy ride to recall, but
that movie is confusing as all get out. It's not our fault.
Yeah, but it is great. It is a great movie. So,
this has been Film Nerds Hour.
This has been Film Nerds Hour with Nathaniel Shoemaker.
And Noah Sweda.
And we will see you guys, in the next episode.
See you next week for Dr. Sleep.
And on one last note as well, if you haven't, feel free to follow us on Instagram. If you're listening on Anchor and Spotify, thank you. Or if you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, thank you again for supporting us. There should be a link to our Facebook group as well for you guys. So, without further ado, thank you all for listening, and you guys have a great evening.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.